everyone, welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Maureen. I am a mindset coach and breathwork practitioner. And today we are going to talk about how to be motivated when you don't feel so motivated. So without further ado, let's dive in. So it's pretty common knowledge that motivation is not going to be sustainable on the long term. It's like when a lot of people take this resolution on the new year to go to the gym, and on February there's half of the gym that is empty because no one is going there anymore. Well, that's how motivation is. It cannot be something that you rely on the long term, because you are going to lose that motivation. You are going to feel maybe tired in the way because life gets in the way of our intentions. And it takes a lot of practice, a lot of determination to go after what you want. It's perfectly human to want to stay in a comfort zone and to want to be safe. And in the end, all we need is food and shelter, right? And sense of belonging. And so anything that is outside of that requires a bit of perseverance and a bit of determination to get to where you want to be. So don't rely on motivation alone to achieve the things that you want to. Okay, we need constant reminders. That's how the brain works. We need constant reminders of why we are doing what we want to do. And to do that, you can put several things in place to help you. And this is what we're going to see in that video. So the first thing for me that works all the time, and it works for me, it might not work for other people, but I love to have some type of calendar, some type of notes where whenever I do something towards my intention, I put a little check note. So I do have, right now I'm taking classes in a certain language to learn that language. And so I have a calendar where I just put a little tick because I want to practice for about 10 minutes a day or more. And so whenever I practice on that day, I just put a little mark, a little check on my calendar for this. So then I know it's keeping me accountable, and I know how many days I've actually been studying or not on this. Another thing is you can put some notes on a board on your phone wallpaper. I find that having a phone background that is actually really linked to your intentions, the things you want to bring, you want to manifest in your life, is extremely powerful, because we check so many times our phones during the day that it's just so easy to have it as a phone wallpaper, as a reminder and as a motivation for you to really dive into the things that you want to accomplish in your life. Another tip is that you can have an accountability buddy. So basically someone who is keeping you accountable. It can be someone who has the same motivation than you, the same intention than you, or it can be another intention than your intention, but you just keep motivate each other to do the things. For me, for example, whenever I do my work, I am self-employed, so I usually work on my own at home, and I find it very motivating when I'm just inviting another self-employed friend and we just go to a cafe or a library space where we both motivate each other to work on our own things and our own projects. It's always really great to have someone who's accountable like this, and it doesn't take anything else from them than just showing up, and also for them to do the work that they need to. And so it's kind of a win-win situation where you have someone in your life helping you with this. The only downside and a little bit risk of this is that your accountability buddy is giving up on their own intention. And then it can feel a bit of a letdown for you, and a little bit like, oh, I want to give up too. So it's a bit of a risk, but I would say it can be something that works really great if you find the right person. Another tip for motivation and keep you accountable is just set a timeline for things to show up, for you to take actions. For example, my classes are weekly. I know during this time I have a 2 hour per week where I already have these classes. So having, kind of that weekly schedule, this weekly accountability can help me. It can be monthly, it can be yearly, whatever you need. Whatever is necessary for you to have, can be really, really a powerful intention, because you have something really concrete to put on the paper and for your brain to focus on. And it's what can keep you accountable in the end, because sometimes we say, oh, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to do this thing, and then your brain doesn't have a specific date in mind, a specific regularity to put in place. So then you just keep pushing it, and then you just end up never do it, because you don't put that accountability for yourself. So just putting a date in mind, and you can also put a limit, like maybe, oh, I want to achieve this by June 2024, let's say. Then it's kind of giving you a timeline for you to put actions in place and do things on time. And this method is really, really powerful. So you can do things weekly, monthly, take actions monthly, yearly, and just putting a date, like a deadline towards your intention. Even though you might not accomplish it by the deadline, but it's kind of keeping you accountable, and it's giving your brain a sort of timeline to, keep going on and keep showing up for your intentions and your actions. Another tip that might seem counterproductive, but actually have some rest. Do something else than what you want to focus on, what your intention is. Taking taking your mind off of that thing can really help you bring in new ideas, take some rest, and come back to it with a fresh mind. Those moments of rest are probably the most important and the most productive moments that you can take towards your intentions. I know it sounds counterproductive, and usually when we have an intention, we just want to keep working and working on it. But actually, it's not the best solution, because you will get tired, and when you're too focused on something, you cannot get the bigger picture where you might get, more ideas and more creativity on the long term. So it's very important as well for your mind and your body to take those times of rest. And actually, you might figure out that this is when you're going to have your best ideas. How many times have it happened to me or my friends that some of my best ideas came up when I was taking a shower? Literally the moment where there's nothing else you can do than shower or sing in your shower, like whatever. So obviously ideas starts flowing out, because finally you're not focusing so much on your intentions or on what you want to do. Having motivation overall is something that can be really hard to have on the long term, because we have ups and downs in our lives, right? There's always moments where we have negativity, and then we have positive mindset. And we cannot just keep a positive mindset all the time. I've seen so many videos about mindset that were just telling you, suck it up and don't feel your emotions, just keep going, wake up at 5 a.m, do this, do that, blah blah blah. I don't think you should put so much pressure and rules on yourself. I think it can be very detrimental to your body and your mind on the long term. And I'm not saying there's a balance between procrastinating and finding excuses and actually putting the actions, but I'm just saying there's a balance between you taking time to actually rest when you actually need it, and bringing those new ideas and putting in the work and the actions. It's always something that comes up in manifestation, where you have to write down your manifestation, take actions, and then at the end you need to let it go. You need to take your mind off of it and be okay with the present moment, and be present with who you are, with where you are. And in the end, those are as much as important as the actions that you are going to take towards that intention. So motivation is not something you can count on again on the long term for that specific reasons, because our mind is just like a roller coaster. You know, we have ups and downs, and obviously when we have our downs, we might not want to do much. And it's very important in those moments to go inward and really try to understand your emotions and why you're feeling this way. But I feel like that would be another video. So really, that's why those tips are very important to put in place, and try to find what works for you. It's gonna take a bit of trial and error before you really find what works for you and what's not working for you. I just gave you tips that really work for me. The calendar is a big one. I'm someone who loves to be organized and have ideas in writing, because it helps organizing my mind once it's in writing and not so much in my head. So I know that system works for me, and it might work for a lot of people, but it might also not work for you. So in that case, trying to find, you know, other things, just try it out. What can work for you, what is best, how your brain works. And if you have a downtime, it's perfectly fine too. You don't need to be 100% of the time. Please don't listen to people who tell you that you shouldn't listen to your emotions and you just have to go, 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 go. It's very tending towards toxic productivity, and I would strongly advise, if you're into hustling or toxic productivity, to really look into it and really ask yourself if this is what you want to have. Because on the short term it might work, on the long term, not so much. So really think of your mind and body, really think on the long term and what you can achieve on the long term. You don't need to take really big steps to get where you want to be. You can also take smaller steps to slowly build your intention, and that's okay too. That's how you can keep motivation as well. When you also just put one thing after the other, and it might be a bit slower, but you don't need to have all these big results, and when you don't see the big results immediately, you just like give up. No, sometimes intentions takes time. Just remember why you want to do this specific thing. Why did you want to set up this intention in the first place? Like, always remember your why. That's something I've always heard for people who are building their business. They say, when you have a downtime, always remember the why. Why are you doing this? Because there's always going to be downtime. I cannot say it. Downtime. And it's just, during those downtimes, this is where you will be tested to get towards your intention. And that's the difference between, people who are starting something and are just counting on motivation to do this, and then when they don't see the big results, they just give up. And other people who are just slowly building and finding a system that works for them, even when they have a downtime, to put things in place, and a regularity and determination in what can get you to your intention. And when you also take a good chunk of rest, it can be really, really good to get those new ideas. So please don't disregard rest. I know it can be hard when we're too focused on something. It's really hard to take your mind off of it, but it's very important to have those times for you. So if you cannot, be by yourself and take rest, then maybe try to go see friends, family, just walk around your neighborhood, like somewhere where you cannot really, have time to think too much about your intention or your project. So anyway, that was all for today. I hope those tips are going to help you. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you like this video, please put a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye.